Hiya, I'm the Employer Partner Manager at NowSkills, and my name's Sebastian Fitzharris.
And I'm Daniel Wells, I'm the Managing Director, also at NowSkills.
So, the reason for our chat today, we just want to tell all the apprentices about the apprenticeship process and obviously a bit about NowSkills too. So, to begin with, one thing I do want to make clear is that with apprentices, there is no cost for them to do an apprenticeship, is there?
Yeah, so nothing like if you go to uni, you've got any student fees, student loan, student debt, that kind of thing. So it is funded by government and employer. So depending on your age, it can be fully funded or the employer will pay some. But what matters to you as an apprentice, you're not paying anything.
Not paying anything and they earn while they learn.
You're earning as well. So yeah, an apprenticeship, people still unsure about what it is. In the most simple terms, it's a job with learning and development as well. So you are paid, you are employed. So yeah, you'll get paid as well as experience.
That's the thing, because with university, a lot of the time, they get themselves in a lot of debt. It's a lot of money to go to university. I won't know I didn't go myself, but I'm very much on the apprenticeship front. And another thing with university is a lot of the people, when I've spoke to a lot of candidates who then come through to us, is that they have to do a lot of basically volunteering, but they're doing a lot more than just volunteering. They're basically doing the job for free as work experience, but long term. So if you still want to get a level 3, which is equivalent to an A level, or a level 4, which is equivalent to a foundation degree, apprenticeship, you want to earn while you learn, definitely go down the apprenticeship route.
Yeah, and it's never an either or. You've got to find out what's right for you. So you've got to look at, what's the course you want to do? Is it an apprenticeship? Would a degree be better for you? Where do you want to get to in terms of career? Could you use a combination of both? Let's say, if you're in school, sixth form, it can be very hard knowing exactly what you want to do. I was exactly the same. I didn't really have a clue what I wanted to do when I was 16, 17. I never thought to myself, I want to be a director of a business and do apprenticeships. It was just something I didn't know about. So, yeah.
Everyone takes a different career path. Because that's one of the things with yourself, Danny. Obviously, NowSkills have been going nearly 12 years now, and you've been there from the start, if I'm right?
Day zero, yeah. Help the owner of the business, set it up and understand how apprenticeships work. So, I've seen throughout the years, it would be really beneficial to lots of apprenticeships in all the different roles that they're doing.
We've had loads of apprentices in-house at NowSkills as well. In loads of different departments. We've got, how many have we got now?
11 apprentices, I
11
think.
11 pairs in-house as well.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the biggest things as an apprentice where you should feel a lot of value is, with our apprenticeship specifically, they range between 10 to 18 grand. So someone has invested that into you.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you should see it as a compliment. And another thing, it's a massive opportunity. It looks good on your CV if you manage to show that if you get invested money and time into, you're going to make the most of it. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. There's a lot of people who have to mentor you through an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
No one does an apprenticeship if they've already got the skill set, otherwise there's no point doing it.
I think from an employer side, you're investing in that person. You're paying for them to be there, but then you have to spend a lot of time and support, as I guess you would with any colleague or any staff member you bring in, particularly if they're new. There's a big investment from the employer side. So I think sometimes as an apprentice, you've got to think, actually, I need to make sure this is an investment in myself, but also understand your employer's investing in you.
Exactly.
They want you. They've created a role for you. They want to support you. A lot of employers, do apprenticeships alongside like grad schemes or early careers because they want to, really invest in younger people and help them, into jobs and into work.
Well, that actually takes me on to my next point about the recruitment process, because with apprentices, sometimes when I speak to a lot of them, when they're applying, they think that there's just loads of jobs waiting for them, whereas it's really not the case at all. Sometimes there might be 20 IT apprentices who've applied. I've only got one IT job in the area, but some who come through that good, if they've really put themselves out there to do an introductory video. Yeah. They've, for example, if they are an IT apprentice, they build loads of PCs in their spare time. They've built a portfolio. The more effort they've put in, the easier it is for me to find a replacement. Because a lot of the time, I'll ring 200-300 employees in a week about one apprentice because of how much effort they've put in, I want to do the same back. And I've put this person on their desk and they're that good. The employer, like you say, creates a role for them. It's not like they're advertising. It's just, I've put this person on the desk and they've gone, there's more reasons to see them than to not.
And sometimes it's just about, standing out on your application for an apprentice, putting the effort in, applying, and it is right, that there are hundreds of apprentices that apply, but it's not a guaranteed role. And I think sometimes if you apply to a college course, the college can easily say, yes, you're in or you're not. Whereas we're working with employers, they've got their own stuff going on as well, and hiring an apprentice sometimes isn't the biggest priority. Obviously we want it to be, because that's
that's what we do.
But there's no guarantee of a place. But if we think an apprentice is really good, a potential candidate, we'll work and place them. But I think something like only 5% that apply get successful into a role. Lots of different reasons. I mean, we have to look at eligibility. Some people, they're overqualified, overexperienced, etc. But it's those top percent that really put their effort in and can show. I think ultimately you've got to show your passion for what you want to do. So as you say, if you're interested in going into, for example, if you're going into content creating, have you used Photoshop or editing tools, or is there anything you do in your own time? And then showing as well, you're there to learn, your willingness, you're eager. You want to learn. You're not coming into a role because you know everything. You've got to show that you're going to be proactive and listen to your mentor.
That's what it's about in an apprenticeship, specifically with us as well, because we're digital. It's very rare someone will say, "Oh, I want to be a content creator because my dad is." It's not like, do you know what I mean? It's whereas sometimes in like your sort of hands-on roles, like bricklaying, joinery and stuff, that sometimes does tend to be family oriented.
I think they're what the class is the most traditional apprenticeships as well, because everyone's heard of like the more manual labour. And we need those, but digital sometimes parents don't know. And then they're not pushing their kids or children, young people towards apprenticeships because they just don't know that you can do an apprenticeship in a particular area.
Everything's going digital.
Everything, even more so.
Everyone will be coming to us soon. Bricklayers will be one of our IT guys, digital marketers, data analysts. We'll all be changing trade.
I think that's the point as well, is that digital is going to touch every role and every job. So we're doing specifically roles in digital. But I know, I've seen some house building and they've been using 3D printers to print the bricks on site, and then there's somewhere in that supply chain for that person to do their job. Someone has got to work in digital to make sure that the hardware and the software works in the background.
At my missus working the care home, so everything was written down. So anyone who takes medication, it was written down. Anyone who was this, whereas now they've all been going through this change because everything's been digitalised, and they're all, because it's digitalised, they can see exactly what everyone's up to as well. To make sure everything's been going right. So if anyone, been given, they'll know if someone's not been given medication because it's all automated through there, which places like Cairns and stuff, there's no one who's normally dealing with anything IT side of them. So everything's going digital. With the recruitment process as well, what I did want to say is sometimes I could place an apprentice. I've had it before where an apprentice is applied in the morning. They've been screened by our resources team. They've had the eligibility check, which to do an apprenticeship, you either have to have passed your maths and English at GCSE level or above, or a functional skills level 2 equivalent, or whatever it is. And then they've filled out our application pack, which you can't do with AI. Resourcing team kick that back every time. Employers want to know why you want to do the apprenticeship. They want to know why this is your interest. Do you know what I mean? It's a big commitment in an apprenticeship. A level 3 is a 16-month from employment start date, and a level 4 is 20 months. So the level 3, I think where a lot of people get confused when they've been to college and then go to do an apprenticeship, the level 3 is equivalent to an A level, but with someone like us, we're a digital specialist, it's a complete different type of IT course, it's a complete different type of marketing course, because all of our tutors are from the industry, and they're giving industry recognised experience to help them in the roles and mould the training so it's relevant. If you want something really techy, I can help you out. If you want something like bricklaying, joinery, I'm sorry, I'm not your guy.
No.
And it is a completely different step. Like I said, level 4, equivalent to a foundation degree. So the reason a lot of people go down the apprenticeship route rather than university is because I have a lot of university candidates who then come to us trying to get an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
But as you were saying, they can be then overqualified because although they might have done a level 6 or whatever in marketing, I don't know what they're doing at university, they've only got the knowledge. They haven't actually been given enough time to get in a role, and then you will find a lot of university candidates then struggle to get a job because everyone wants work experience, and that's what you get with an apprenticeship. Now, in terms of the apprentice commitment and the expectations throughout the apprenticeship, I know from my side, I prep them for the interview. I tend to do 2 or 3 preps for the interview, give them loads of tips. A lot of the time, employers may set them tasks. Once they're actually hired, I pass it to the business support team. Tutor reaches out, tends to be about 10 working days after they've started working there. And then it's handed over to the business support and operations side, which obviously you worked in for a good 10 years at NowSkills. So could you kind of speak of it from your side, the handover, what happens then for the apprentice to know?
So obviously there's a few things at play there. You know, you're assigned a tutor. There's some activities and tasks that you need to do so that we can get you enrolled officially. Part of that will also be, you said 10 working days. That's because we want to allow for a bit of an induction with the employer, a bit of a settling in period, learning on the job. But then from the tutor side, you know, you assign your tutor, someone from industry, someone specialist. They'll book in a session with you, and your mentor, your line manager, supervisor, whatever their role is with you, and they'll go through an induction to the learning side, and the off-the-job training and learning is part of your program that you'll do as an apprentice. So they'll go through expectations. You know, hopefully you'll have expectations from your employer, you know, being on time to work, you know, code of conduct or whatever you call, you know, rules of the employer, everything that's expected there. But it's managing your time. You'll have like more formal training, but you really are, as an apprentice, you've got to put aside your time for your learning and development. It's not going to be something where you go and sit in a classroom all the time, where you might have experience from school or college. There's some of that, you know, we'll do online masterclasses, but with your tutor, you'll have one-to-ones, there's a review and we'll bring your employer in. But time has got to be taken by yourself and managed by yourself as an apprentice. You've got targets to meet your work and your activities. You're the only person that can make sure that they're done is yourself. We can't do it for you. Your employer's not going to do work for you. So it's you as an apprentice. And I think sometimes that is, particularly for someone who's much newer to the workplace, actually managing time effectively and you're learning, studying and working at the same time is really hard. Really hard thing to do. So, you know, the fact that an apprentice does this and achieves this is, you know, is really, you know, an outstanding achievement for them to show.
And for a lot of them, the big difference between college and an apprenticeship, it can be a reality check being in the workplace. Now, just for the last point I wanted to make, just before we wrap everything up, with obviously a school and a college, there's a full safeguarding team, and if they ever wanted someone outside of work to speak to, although obviously we're not a physical school or a college, it's the exact same with any apprenticeship provider.
So we have like the team, the tutor's your main point of contact as an apprentice, but we've got a whole team in the office that's there. Ultimately, we want to make sure your apprenticeship is successful. So whatever we can reasonably do to support you. So, you know, whether you have any well-being concerns or, you know, your workload might be too big at one time, what we can reasonably do to support you. That's what we have a team in the office to do.
Right, that was Sebastian and Danny at NowSkills. Thank you very much for tuning in. Ta-ra.